The church was silent. Too silent. Emily stood frozen at the altar, gripping her bouquet so tightly that the petals began to crumble. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, whispers spreading like wildfire. Her father shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Her mother had gone pale. The priest cleared his throat. "Miss Carter. Where is your groom?" That was the question Emily had been asking herself for the past 10 minutes. Her fiancé, Daniel, was nowhere to be found. He had promised her forever. He had sworn he would love her until the end of time. But now, on the most important day of her life, he had vanished. Her heart pounded as she turned to look at her best friend, Claire, hoping for reassurance. But Claire wouldn't meet her gaze. Something was wrong. Then, the doors at the back of the church burst open. A woman in a red dress strutted inside, holding hands with none other than Daniel. Gasps echoed through the grand cathedral. The woman smirked, tossing her perfect curls over her shoulder. "I'm so sorry, Emily," Daniel said, his voice devoid of any real regret. "But I can't marry you. I've always loved Veronica." A sharp pain stabbed through Emily's chest, but she refused to cry. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Her mother rushed to her side, her voice trembling. "Sweetheart, let's leave." But Emily wasn't listening. She felt hot, humiliated, and shattered. She wasn't about to beg for love. Instead, she did something reckless. She turned to the crowd and, in a voice stronger than she felt, declared, "I will not leave this altar unmarried." The guests gasped again. Her eyes darted around the room until they landed on a stranger standing at the back, a man dressed in tattered clothes, his face partially hidden under a hood. He was staring at her with intrigue, his sharp blue eyes studying her as if she were a puzzle he wanted to solve. "You," Emily pointed at him. "Will you marry me?" The church erupted into chaos. And the beggar, who was no beggar at all, smirked before stepping forward. "I accept." Emily barely remembered how she ended up in the registrar's office, standing beside a man she didn't even know. Her wedding dress was still perfect, though the joy in her heart had been crushed. The only thing keeping her upright was sheer determination, not to crumble in front of Daniel and Veronica. The man beside her said nothing. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and had the kind of presence that made people curious. His dirty jeans and worn-out hoodie made him look like he had no place in a high-class wedding. But there was something about him, his confidence, the calmness in his voice, that made Emily wonder. Was he really a beggar? "Sign here," the clerk said, sliding the marriage papers toward them. Emily grabbed the pen, hesitating only for a second before writing her name in firm strokes. The man took the pen next. Instead of hesitating, he signed Lucas Gray in elegant cursive. His handwriting was almost too refined for someone living on the streets. She narrowed her eyes at him. "You don't look like a beggar." Lucas smiled, tilting his head slightly. "And you don't look like a woman who just got abandoned at the altar." Ouch. She folded her arms. "Why did you agree to this?" Lucas leaned closer, his voice dropping to a teasing whisper. "Why did you choose me?" Emily had no answer to that. The clerk cleared his throat. "By the power vested in me. I now pronounce you husband and wife." The words rang in Emily's ears. Just hours ago, she was supposed to hear them with Daniel. Now, she was married to a complete stranger. Lucas extended his hand. "Shall we go, wife?" Her heart stuttered at the way he said that. This was insane. Absolutely insane. But what choice did she have? She lifted her chin, placed her hand in his, and walked out of the registrar's office, unknowingly stepping into a love story she never saw coming. Emily's heels clicked against the pavement as she walked briskly beside Lucas, her fingers still intertwined with his. The cold metal of her wedding ring felt foreign on her finger, a silent reminder that she had just married a complete stranger. Her heart pounded as they stepped outside the registrar's office. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson. The wind brushed against her skin, but she barely felt it. What had she done? Lucas, on the other hand, seemed completely at ease. He shoved his hands into the pockets of his ragged hoodie and turned to her with an amused smile. "So, Mrs. Gray, what happens now?" Emily halted, pulling her hand from his grasp. "Let's get one thing straight. This isn't a real marriage. It was just to save face." Lucas chuckled. "And here I thought we were going on a honeymoon." She shot him a glare, but he only smirked. "Look," she said, folding her arms. "We'll file for an annulment in a few weeks. No one has to know about this ridiculous arrangement." Lucas tilted his head, his sharp blue eyes studying her. "And until then?" Emily sighed, rubbing her temples. "Until then, I need you to act like my husband." His brows lifted. "Act?" "Yes. My family is expecting me to bring my husband home. If I tell them the truth, it'll only make things worse. I just need you to play along for a while." Lucas grinned. "So, you want a fake husband?" "Exactly." His expression turned thoughtful as he rubbed his chin. "All right, I'll do it, but on one condition." Emily's stomach tightened. "What condition?" Lucas took a step closer, his voice dropping to a low, velvety tone. "You take me home with you." She blinked. "What?" "Your house. Your family. Your world," he said casually. "If I'm going to be your husband, I need to live with you." Emily's pulse quickened. "You can't be serious." He shrugged. "I don't have a home. Where else am I supposed to stay?" A wave of realization hit her. Of course. She had just married a man who, for all she knew, was homeless. Her mind raced. Bringing him home would be risky. But if she didn't, her family would see through the lie immediately. She exhaled sharply. "Fine. But only for a few weeks. And you better behave." Lucas chuckled. "Mrs. Gray, I'm the perfect gentleman." Something in his tone made her doubt that. The moment Emily and Lucas stepped into the Grand Carter estate, the air grew thick with tension. Her mother, Margaret Carter, was the first to notice them. She gasped, her hand flying to her chest. "Emily, who is this man?" Emily straightened her posture. "This is Lucas, my husband." Silence. Her father, William Carter, frowned deeply. "You're what?" Lucas, ever the charmer, stepped forward and extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, sir. I'm Lucas Gray, Emily's devoted husband." William didn't take the handshake. Instead, his sharp gaze raked over Lucas's ragged clothing. His eyes darkened. "You're joking." Emily swallowed hard. "I know it's sudden, but Lucas and we had a private wedding." Her younger sister, Sophie, burst into laughter. "You left Daniel for this?" Emily clenched her fists. "Daniel left me at the altar." Her mother's face twisted with disapproval. "And in response, you married a beggar?" Lucas chuckled. "Wow, what a warm welcome." William Carter stepped forward, his expression cold. "Listen here, boy. I don't know who you are, but if you think you can weasel your way into our family, you're mistaken. My daughter is a Carter. And Carters don't mix with—" "Dad, stop." Emily interrupted, her voice firm. "Lucas is my husband now. Whether you approve or not." Her father's nostrils flared, but he said nothing. Lucas, still smiling, turned to Emily. "Well, darling, should we go to our room now?" Emily's breath hitched. Crap. She hadn't thought about that. Her mother's eyes widened in horror. "You're sharing a room?" Lucas draped an arm around Emily's shoulders, pulling her closer. His warmth seeped through her dress, making her skin tingle. "Of course. We're married, after all." Emily stiffened. What had she just gotten herself into? Later that night. Emily shut the bedroom door behind them and turned to Lucas with a glare. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" Lucas smirked. "A little." She groaned, pacing the room. "You didn't have to touch me. Would you rather they think we're faking it?" She hated that he had a point. Lucas flopped onto the bed, stretching lazily. "So, Mrs. Gray, where do I sleep?" Emily folded her arms. "On the floor." Lucas arched a brow. "That doesn't seem very wifely of you." She grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. "Shut up and sleep." Lucas laughed, catching the pillow with ease. "Good night, wifey." Emily turned away, her heart pounding. She had no idea who Lucas Gray really was. But something told her, she was about to find out. Emily woke up to the soft rays of sunlight peeking through the curtains, warming her face. She groaned, stretching, before her body froze. Something was different. Her bed, where she had fallen asleep alone, was not empty. A strong arm draped lazily over her waist, and a steady, warm breath tickled the back of her neck. Her heart nearly jumped out of her chest. Emily flipped over instantly, only to come face to face with Lucas. His deep blue eyes were half-lidded with sleep, and his tousled brown hair made him look frustratingly handsome. His body was way too close, she could feel the heat radiating off him. For a brief moment, neither of them moved. Then, "What the hell are you doing in my bed?" Emily shrieked, shoving him. Lucas groaned, rubbing his eyes. "Relax, wifey. I got cold." "That's not an excuse," she snapped, her face burning. Lucas sat up, stretching lazily. "Come on, we're married. You'll have to get used to waking up next to me sooner or later." Emily grabbed a pillow and whacked him in the face. "Over my dead body." Lucas chuckled, grabbing the pillow before it could hit him again. "Feisty in the morning, huh? Get out of my bed," she hissed. Lucas sighed dramatically, standing up. "Fine, fine. But you should know, I don't usually sleep on the floor." Emily crossed her arms. "Well, in my house, that's exactly where you'll be sleeping." Lucas smirked. "We'll see." Emily scowled, watching as he walked toward the bathroom. Something about this man was off. He was too comfortable, too confident, not at all like someone who had supposedly lived on the streets. Who exactly was Lucas Gray? Emily had never felt more anxious at the breakfast table. Her father, William Carter, sat at the head, his eyes constantly flicking toward Lucas with suspicion. Her mother, Margaret, barely touched her tea, her lips pursed in distaste. Sophie, Emily's younger sister, smirked at the tension, clearly enjoying the spectacle. Lucas, on the other hand? He ate like he owned the damn house. With perfect table manners, he sipped his coffee, cut his toast into even bites, and carried himself with unshaken confidence. It was strange. Emily expected him to eat like someone who had been starving on the streets. Instead, he handled the silverware like a man raised in luxury. Her father must have noticed too because he set down his fork and said coldly, "So, Lucas, what do you do for a living?" Lucas smiled, wiping the corner of his mouth with a napkin. "Oh, this and that. I'm quite resourceful." William's eyes narrowed. "That's not an answer." Lucas leaned back in his chair, completely unfazed. "Let's just say I've had experience in different industries." Emily clenched her fists under the table. "What kind of answer was that?" Her mother scoffed. "So, you're unemployed." Lucas smiled. "Not exactly." Emily kicked his leg under the table. "Answer properly." Lucas barely reacted, but she swore she saw the ghost of a smirk on his lips. William leaned forward, voice sharp. "Tell me, young man, where did you grow up?" Lucas paused, swirling his coffee cup. "Oh, here and there. Moved around a lot." Emily was about to kick him again when suddenly. "Did you go to university?" Sophie asked, tilting her head in curiosity. Lucas smiled. "You could say that." Her father's patience snapped. Enough with the riddles. William barked, slamming his palm on the table. Where is your family? What do you do? Where do you live? Lucas slowly placed his coffee cup down and met William Carter's glare head-on. I understand your concerns, sir, he said, voice calm but firm. But let's get one thing straight, I am your daughter's husband. And whether you approve of me or not, I'm here to stay. Silence. Emily's pulse thundered. Lucas turned to her and winked. Isn't that right, sweetheart? Emily nearly choked on her juice. Her father's fists clenched, his jaw tightening. This isn't over, he said darkly. Lucas simply smiled. I wouldn't expect it to be. Emily wanted to scream. Lucas had no fear, no hesitation, he was toying with her father like this was some game. What the hell was going on? Who was this man she had married? Emily marched into the bedroom and spun on her heels, arms crossed. All right, spill. Lucas leaned against the doorframe, amused. Spill what? Who are you? She demanded. Lucas smirked. I'm your husband, darling. Emily's patience snapped. She stormed up to him, poking his chest. Don't play games with me, Lucas. You're too polished, too confident, too trained. You eat like a rich man, you talk like one, and you sure as hell aren't a beggar. Lucas arched a brow. Noticing my charms already? I swear, I will strangle you. Lucas chuckled, stepping closer, too close. Careful, sweetheart. If you keep getting this worked up over me, people might think you actually like me. Emily's breath hitched. His voice was too low, too tempting. She stepped back, heart racing. I don't like mysteries, Lucas. And right now, you're a walking one. Lucas tilted his head, a knowing smile playing on his lips. And yet, you married me. Emily hated that she had no comeback. Lucas laughed softly, moving past her. Relax, wifey. You'll find out everything soon enough. Emily clenched her fists. One thing was clear. Lucas Gray was hiding something. And she was going to find out what. Emily paced the length of her bedroom, her arms folded tightly across her chest. Lucas was hiding something. She was sure of it now. No beggar acted like he did. No man who had lived on the streets knew how to handle a knife and fork like royalty or match her father's sharp glare without flinching. But what was his secret? She stopped pacing and turned toward the bathroom, where the shower was still running. Lucas was inside, completely unbothered. Emily glanced at his duffel bag in the corner. Maybe, there was something inside that could give her answers. Her heart pounded as she hesitated for a moment, then marched toward it. She crouched down, unzipped the bag, and her breath caught. Inside were clothes that didn't match a beggar's lifestyle at all. Expensive suits, designer watches, and a black credit card. Emily's fingers trembled as she picked it up. Lucas had a black card? Those were only given to the wealthiest people in the world. Her head spun. If Lucas really was a homeless man, why the hell did he have something like this? She was still staring at the card when she suddenly heard a voice behind her. You know, wifey, if you wanted to go through my stuff, you could have just asked. Emily jumped. She whirled around, and nearly choked on her breath. Lucas stood there, fresh out of the shower, a towel wrapped loosely around his waist. Water dripped from his damp hair, trailing down his sculpted chest, over his defined abs, and disappearing beneath the towel. Emily's brain short-circuited. For several seconds, she forgot how to breathe. Lucas smirked. Enjoying the view? Emily's face burned. Put on some clothes. Lucas chuckled, stepping closer. Oh? But I live here now, don't I? Shouldn't I feel comfortable around my wife? Emily threw a pillow at him. Get dressed. He dodged easily, laughing as he grabbed some clothes from his bag. Fine, fine. But tell me, Emily. His eyes flicked to the black card still in her hands. Her stomach dropped. Find anything interesting? Emily gripped the credit card, her heart hammering in her chest. You lied to me, she accused. Lucas slipped on his shirt, still looking frustratingly calm. Did I? Emily clenched her fists. You told me you were a beggar. That you had nothing. But this. She held up the black card. This says otherwise. Lucas leaned against the dresser, watching her with unreadable eyes. What do you think it means? Emily swallowed hard. That you're not who you say you are. Lucas sighed, running a hand through his damp hair. I never said I was poor, Emily. You assumed. Her eyes widened. You let me believe it. Lucas smirked. Did I? Or did you just judge me by my clothes? Emily wanted to strangle him. He was playing word games, avoiding giving her a real answer. You're rich, aren't you? She pressed. Who are you really, Lucas? Lucas's smirk faded slightly. He stepped closer, his blue eyes locking onto hers. Does it matter? He asked softly. Emily's pulse jumped. Of course it matters, she shot back. I married you without knowing a damn thing about you. Lucas tilted his head. If I told you the truth, would it change anything? Emily's breath caught. Would it? She didn't know. Because right now, standing this close to him, feeling the heat radiating from his body, she was dangerously aware of something else. Lucas wasn't just hiding secrets. He was hiding power. And God help her, she was drawn to it. Later that evening, just as Emily was still trying to wrap her head around Lucas's identity, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the Carter estate. A well-dressed man in a suit stepped out. He walked toward the house with an air of authority, his eyes scanning the property like he owned it. Emily and Lucas were sitting in the living room when the butler announced, Sir, there is a man here to see you. Lucas didn't look surprised. Emily, however, frowned. To see him? The man walked in and gave Lucas a deep bow. Sir, the board is waiting for your return, he said respectfully. Emily's entire world tilted. Bored? Lucas leaned back in his seat, unbothered. Tell them I'll return when I feel like it. Emily grabbed his arm. Return where? She hissed. The man hesitated before turning to her with a polite smile. Mrs. Gray, he said formally. Did your husband not tell you? He is the CEO of Storm Enterprises. Emily's jaw hit the floor. Storm Enterprises was one of the biggest corporations in the country. It had billions in assets, controlled multiple industries, and was practically royalty in the business world. And Lucas? Lucas was the CEO? Her head spun. She turned to Lucas, who looked completely bored with the entire situation. You're a billionaire? She stammered. Lucas finally turned to her, amusement flickering in his eyes. Surprise, he said casually. Emily nearly passed out. Emily couldn't breathe. The words echoed in her head, growing louder and louder. Lucas Gray is the CEO of Storm Enterprises. Her beggar husband, the man she had pitted, the man she had defended, the man she had married in an impulsive act of revenge, was one of the richest men in the country. How was this possible? She turned to Lucas, her voice shaking. You lied to me. Lucas sighed, rubbing his temples. Technically, I didn't. Emily gaped. Technically? The well-dressed man, the one who had called Lucas sir, cleared his throat. Sir, the board is restless. They need you back in the office. Lucas leaned back against the couch, looking unbothered. They'll wait. Emily's fists clenched. He was acting as if this were no big deal. Wait outside, Lucas instructed the man. With a respectful nod, the man exited, leaving the thick tension behind. Emily exploded. You let me think you were homeless, she snapped. You let my family think you were a nobody. You let me. Marry me, Lucas finished, his voice calm. Yes, I did. Emily shook with rage. Why? Lucas held her gaze, his deep blue eyes unreadable. Because I wanted to see if you'd choose me for me. Not for my money. Emily's breath hitched. You, her voice caught. You tested me? Lucas's lips curled slightly. If you had known I was a billionaire that night, would you still have married me? Emily froze. Would she? Would she have made the same reckless decision if she had known the truth? Her heart pounded. She didn't have an answer. And Lucas knew it. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind a storm of emotions. Lucas was a billionaire. A CEO. And he had kept it from her. She turned her head slightly, watching him through the dim light. He was sitting near the window, scrolling through his phone, looking completely at ease. Like a man who had never truly been at her mercy. Emily's chest tightened. Why did you do it? She asked suddenly. Lucas didn't look up. I told you already. No, she said, her voice low. Tell me the real reason. Lucas was quiet for a moment before he finally set his phone down. He turned his head, his deep blue eyes locking onto hers. Because I was tired of women chasing me for my money, he said simply. Emily's throat tightened. She didn't expect that answer. Lucas leaned back, his gaze distant. All my life, women have only seen the billionaire. The CEO. Not me. So when I saw you standing there, abandoned at the altar, I wondered what would happen if I took everything away. If I let you think I had nothing. His voice dropped. And you married me anyway. Emily's pulse raced. A test. Their entire marriage was built on a test. And if I had turned my back on you, she whispered. Lucas's jaw tightened. Then I would have walked away. Silence stretched between them. Emily felt something strange stir in her chest, anger, betrayal, but also something deeper. Something dangerously close to understanding. Damn him. A shocking proposal. The next morning, Emily was still processing everything when Lucas walked into the room, adjusting his cuffs. I have a meeting at the office, he said. You're coming with me. Emily stared. Excuse me? Lucas smirked. You're my wife, remember? Time to introduce you properly. Her heart stopped. Introduce her? To the world? Before she could argue, Lucas walked over, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. His touch was gentle, dangerously distracting. Get dressed, sweetheart, he murmured. You're about to step into my world. Emily forgot how to breathe. Emily couldn't believe this was happening. One moment, she was still processing the fact that Lucas had been lying to her. The next, she was being dragged into his world, the world of billionaires, power, and ruthless business. Why do I have to go with you? She demanded as Lucas handed her an elegant black dress. Lucas smirked. Because you're my wife. And it's time people knew. Emily stiffened. His wife. She was still trying to wrap her head around that. Lucas leaned closer, his deep blue eyes filled with amusement. Unless, you're ashamed to be seen with me? Emily gritted her teeth. You should be the one ashamed. You lied to me. Lucas chuckled, unbothered. And yet, here you are, still my wife. Emily glared at him. Only because I don't believe in divorce. Lucas tilted his head, his voice dropping. Then I guess you're stuck with me, sweetheart. Emily's pulse raced. Damn him. Emily felt completely out of place. The moment she stepped into Storm Enterprises' grand lobby, she realized just how powerful her so-called beggar husband really was. The building was massive, towering glass windows, elegant chandeliers, and a steady stream of well-dressed executives bustling about. And the moment they saw Lucas, everything stopped. Sir. The receptionist shot to her feet, bowing. Welcome back, Mr. Gray. Lucas gave a casual nod, as if he was used to people practically worshipping the ground he walked on. Emily stared. This man. Was this really the same Lucas who had been sleeping on the floor in her bedroom just a few nights ago? A group of high-level executives approached, their eyes widening when they noticed her. Mr. Gray, who is this? Lucas placed a hand on the small of Emily's back, his touch sending shivers through her. My wife, he said smoothly. Gasps echoed in the lobby. Emily's stomach dropped. Oh God. He really just announced it. The executives exchanged looks, clearly caught off guard. One of them, a sharp-eyed woman in a navy blue suit, stepped forward. Mr. Gray, we hadn't heard about your marriage. Lucas smirked. You have now. Emily felt 100 pairs of eyes on her, judging, analyzing. But nothing could prepare her for what came next. The woman's eyes narrowed slightly. Sir, is this marriage real? Emily's blood ran cold. Lucas stiffened. For the first time, he didn't answer immediately. And that silence? It was deafening. A dangerous enemy. The tension in the office was thick. Emily forced herself to stand tall, but inside, she was screaming. Why had Lucas hesitated? Did he not want people to know the truth? Or worse, did he regret marrying her? Before she could say anything, another voice cut through the tension. Well. Lucas Gray finally settled down. Emily turned toward the elevator, where a tall, imposing man stepped out. He was older, maybe mid-40s, with slicked-back dark hair and a gaze that was cold, calculating. He walked with the arrogance of a man who thought he owned the world. Lucas's entire body tensed. Emily noticed it immediately. Whoever this man was. He was dangerous. Mr. Steele, Lucas greeted, his voice cool. The man smirked. No need to be so formal, Lucas. After all, we're practically family now, aren't we? Emily's heart pounded. Who was this man? And why did she feel like he was their greatest enemy? Emily's pulse raced as she watched the tense exchange between Lucas and the mysterious Mr. Steele. There was undeniable hostility in the air. Lucas's usually relaxed demeanor was gone, his jaw tight, his body rigid. Steele, Lucas said coolly. I didn't expect to see you here. Mr. Steele smirked. Oh, but I had to. After all, news of your sudden marriage has caused quite the stir. His sharp eyes flickered to Emily. And this must be your new wife? Emily stiffened. Something about the way he looked at her. Like she was prey. Lucas immediately stepped in front of her, shielding her from Steele's gaze. Stay away from her, Lucas warned, his voice deadly. Steele chuckled, completely unfazed. Protective, aren't we? He tilted his head, amusement dancing in his eyes. But tell me, Lucas, does she know? Emily's stomach dropped. Know what? Lucas's fingers twitched. That's none of your concern. Steele's smirk widened. Oh, but it is. Because if she doesn't know. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Then she's in far more danger than she realizes. Emily's breath caught. Danger, she echoed, her voice barely a whisper. Steele's gaze met hers. Your husband is hiding a far bigger secret than just his wealth, Mrs. Gray. Emily's world tilted. Before she could even process what he meant, Steele leaned in just enough to whisper. I wonder, how long until you regret marrying him? Emily's heart stopped. Lucas's entire body tensed. And before she knew it, Lucas grabbed Steele by the collar and slammed him against the glass wall. If you so much as breathe near my wife again, Lucas growled, his voice low and murderous, I will end you. But Steele? He just laughed. Like he knew something Emily didn't. And that terrified her more than anything. To be continued. Would you like me to continue with part 2?